Okay. All right, colleagues, we are ready to start this voting session. And David, do you have the first bill?
Yes. Can I go now?
Yes.
Okay. Before we start the actual voting session, I wanted to say a few things. Senator Reedy is new. He doesn't know the staff, but we're here. I'm Dave Smolsky. Geez, I'm drawing a blank on it. Patrick Carlson and Nathan McCurdy are all here. We're all sitting over here, so we're all back there. And also, there was some, as was brought up in the hearings today, about same-day voting that Senator Kramer brought up. But although if his bill had been drafted correctly, it could have been possibly voted on today. But anyway, we're not going to do same-day voting, at least not right now. The leadership would prefer that there be advanced announcements of all voting sessions. So at least for now, same-day voting is not going to occur. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, and we won't be able to do it in the future when things really get hectic and backed up. But for now, there won't be any same-day voting. And also, because everything has to be announced and it has to be disclosure, the chair would like to have voting at least once a week, and that we're targeting Thursday at 10:30 for voting for the full committee, and that would be the only time we vote during the week. We thought it would be Friday, but you all have to get tested Friday morning, so we can't do anything Friday. So the business of the committee has to continue. So Thursday at around 10:30, depending on what the bill load is, will be when the committee votes every week. Until you have floor sessions. And then that will change everything.
All right, well, Senator Battle is behaving. She has her light on.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have caucus at 10 o'clock on Thursday mornings.
We could vote. We can move it to 11. I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't have to be 10:30. 12. Yeah.
Well, I think a standing committee getting this done might need to take precedence, and if we could move our caucuses around a half hour or something.
You'll take care of that.
Let us know how that works out.
Madam Chair, just one other thing. This is not just for Senator Reedy, but maybe just a refresher for the rest of the committee. So, Dave, why don't you just go through the three of you, like kind of what your subject matter jurisdictions are, so that not just Senator Reedy, but a refresher for everybody else about. I think that would be helpful.
Why don't I ask this?
What?
Why don't we do our voting and then go to all of that? We want to make sure we got enough time to deal with what we're voting on. I think we do, but I think that's a good thing for you to add to the agenda.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. The first bill on your list is Senate Bill 86. This is a departmental bill from the Department of Labor, who oversees, and this would be for Senator Reedy, who oversees correctional education now in the prison systems. This bill was here last year, and it increases to 240 days, the minimum number of days that inmates must participate in mandatory education programs to obtain either a GED or high school diploma if they don't have one. The bill conforms the state law to federal requirements by requiring a maximum of at least 240 days of education that they would be required to attend. The bill was here last year. It passed out late because somebody, a witness requested an opportunity to work out some language with the department, but that never was worked out, so they just brought the bill back this year, and there is nobody testified against the bill.
Okay.
Second.
All right.
Senator Hayes.
And who seconded?
Kramer.
Okay.
Unless it's a bad bill. And then it was Senator.
All right, guys, let's behave. The public is watching.
You just want to call a general vote, Senator Kelly?
Yeah. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Okay. Is there anyone opposed? Okay. That bill passes.
Okay, the next bill on your list is Senate Bill 106. This is another departmental bill from the Department of Assessments and Taxation, who really doesn't come before this committee, but this bill touches a lot of areas of state government, so it was felt that the Finance Committee would be best to deal with this. What it does is it requires a person or an individual, a company, or who must be registered with the department to be in good standing with the department for the purpose of obtaining licenses granted by the state. So under current law, in order to get a license to do anything in a state, from to be a health professional, a business occupational professional, or to operate a facility from the health department, you have to pay your taxes, and you have to contribute to the unemployment insurance fund, and you have to be in good standing with these folks, as determined by the Comptroller or Maryland Department of Labor. But there's no such requirement that they be in good standing for their personal property reports with the Department of Assessments and Taxation. So this bill requires a similar requirement for these businesses, that they be in good standing with SDAT in order to get a license to operate by the Health Department, DNR, MDE, the Comptroller, to be a business professional or be an occupational professional or a health professional. They all have to be in good standing and have to fill out the report required by SDAT before they can be licensed by the state to conduct their business or to apply their trade. There's an amendment in front of you that was brought up by the Maryland Bar Association. This was developed along with the State Department of Assessments and Taxation, and the amendment makes uniform changes to all the parts of the code that this new language is going to appear in. And rather than say an entity described, it says a person required to file an annual report, and it's a little more general to the part of the tax property article that this would apply to, rather than so specific, because subsections can change over the years. And a person under the rules of construction in state code is generally a business or an individual. So it's more in keeping with how statute is constructed. And that makes this change throughout to the business regulation article, business occupation article, health general, health ox, tax general, and everywhere else this language will appear in the code.
Okay. Senator Kramer?
David, I was introducing a bill in judicial proceedings when this was heard the other day. Did SDAT come in and demonstrate that there is a problem that this will be curing? And do I understand correctly, this is another document that must be submitted, a form that I guess every business doing business in the state and gets licensed in the state has to know about this? I mean,
Yes, they're supposed to do this now.
they're supposed to be operating now
They're
with
supposed to be
this?
doing this now, and the problem is that some folks have let this lapse, and they found out when they were trying to get their PPE thing, that they had no documentation that they were in good standing with SDAT, and in some cases, they just let it lapse. So this puts this requirement out there. So if you're signing up to, continue your license to operate as a physical therapist, one of the questions are going to be, are you in good standing with SDAT? And if not, that would force you to go, fill out the proper report that you're required to. So they're supposed to do this now. It's just no formal link to any other penalty for not doing it.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that.
Okay. If we're ready, we'll accept motions.
We've got to move the amendment first, right? There's an amendment.
Yeah, oh, that's right, the amendment. All right. Did someone move it?
Yeah, I moved it.
Okay, fine. And second, Senator Bottle? Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Looks like no objections, so that's,
Move the bill favorable as amended.
okay. All right, do we have did you say you have a question?
Just real quick,
Okay.
Senator Reedy has a question.
All right, Senator Breedy.
real quick, and I was in the hearing. I just want to understand, this just deals with, can an individual who's not paying their income tax have a problem getting a license to continue working? That has nothing to do with this, correct?
No, this has to deal with them not filling out the report required by there's three groups that are required to fill out reports with SDAT. Companies that are foreign. If you're a company that you own property and you pay property taxes, you have to. And anybody who's listed as a subchapter 3 or anybody
Okay,
who's doing
great.
business.
I thought that's the case. I just stuck in my mind. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. All right, so it's the bill's been moved as amended and it's been seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, that passes. All right, Patrick.
So the next bill on the voting list is Senate Bill 110. This is a Maryland Insurance Administration departmental bill. This bill relates to the notices that an auto insurer must send when canceling a policy, not renewing a policy, or reducing coverage under a policy, as well as notices when increasing a premium of a policy. Under current law, an insurer has to send the notice of cancellation in duplicate and on a form approved by the MIA, and similarly, the notice of a premium increase must be sent in triplicate. The bill strikes the requirement of duplicate and triplicate notices and just requires that a notice be sent on a form approved by the MIA.
Okay, makes it simpler. Can we get a motion?
Move favorable.
All right, got a motion. Can we get a second? Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Any opposed? All right, that passes. Okay, now Nathan has the next bill.
Yes, the next bill is Senate Bill 206. This is a departmental bill that extends the termination date of the State Collection Agency Licensing Board within the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation for another 10 years.
Favorable.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? If not, if you're ready for the question, please raise your right hand. Well, we're being so kind to each other today, I can't believe it. Okay. Patrick, I guess you have the next one.
Next bill is Senate Bill 226. This is another Maryland Insurance Administration departmental bill. This bill authorizes MIA to send certain notices and communications, such as a notice from MIA that a certificate of authority is going to expire. Authorization to send these notices by electronic means if the recipient has provided an email address to receive notices or other communications and if MIA maintains proof that the notice was sent to the recipient's email address. The bill also authorizes a person to send notices or other communications to MIA by electronic means.
I am going to ask us all to project a little more because the public is listening. We want to be sure they can tell, and then we're muzzled. Okay. All right. Senator Hayes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair. Patrick, for this one, I understand like the department's justification that they want to be able to provide notification electronically. But is there anything that would prevent them from requiring people to submit it electronically?
So I think that this is authorization for MIA to do this. There is authorization in the bill for them to, the questions about communications that are being sent from persons to the MIA.
Right. In the last couple of sessions, we've had issues. There's been several like boards, commissions, and agencies that wanted to go strictly to electronically, and recognizing that not everyone have access to email or to the internet and things like that. I think there's been changes to it. What I'm trying to figure out, though, just because we're authorizing them, is there anything that says that they cannot require people to only communicate electronically?
Mm-hmm. Do you think the bill needs an amendment to make that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
That it's that what we're doing is authorizing, but not making that the sole mode of communication.
Yes, ma'am.
Because a lot of people don't even have homes right now, let
Absolutely.
alone internet.
Maybe this is something that I can check into just to make sure that we have an amendment that's in
Okay.
order that would accomplish
And if
that.
there's a way for you to suggest an amendment that would authorize it happening this way, but not as the sole mode available to members of the public. Senator Augustine has his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a similar sort of concern or issue. I understand the desire to move over to email, but I am worried about folks who, you give an email address and it starts bouncing, and then they don't have it, or that they just don't receive the information, and that there's not it's very different with an email address, or if someone moves on. It's different than a physical address for a entity. So even though there wasn't a whole lot of discussion from the folks, I am a little concerned about that and how that works.
So do you think we want to hold it for a possible amendment?
Klausmeyer has a question.
Let me just make
And between Senators Hayes and Augustine, they'll work with you to figure out what's doable. Yes.
Senator Augustine, that, you said somebody's liable to move, is that right? Can you hear me? But I would think, and this is just how I think, you don't change your email address when you move, but you change your address when you move. So it might behoove somehow or other just to keep that in mind when whatever you're doing with it.
You probably have maybe 35% of the public, though, without email service at all. They don't, there are a lot of people. Yeah. So
And I would also just say,
if you want to work with them while they're amending.
I'll work with it.
So we got a 3-person committee will work with you.
I think generally this is about communications that MIA sends to its regulated entities, and so what it's generally saying is that the commissioner may send a notice by electronic means if the recipient has provided an email address to do so. Regarding authorization relating to other persons, if the person is required to send the commissioner a notice or other communication, this authorizes that person to send the notice or other communication by electronic means. That's what the bill says, but I can look further into whether any amendments are needed.
Maybe there ought to be something, though, to suggest that once you authorize the commission to send or to receive that way, that it doesn't knock out all other means. Because they very easily, the next thing you know, is say, well, we're doing it like this now, as if everybody is able. So, am I framing the concern? Okay. Okay. All right, now where are we on the voting list?
281.
Okay, 281. Ms. Nathan.
Senate Bill 281 is another departmental bill. It extends the termination of the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation by 10 years.
Move favorable.
Second.
All right, we've got it. Let's have a vote on that motion. Raise your hand, please, if you're in favor. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now, we did talk a little bit at the beginning about some of our operations as of when we have voting sessions and other things, and I'm going back to the vice chair who had some other suggestions to recommend.
There weren't anything groundbreaking. I just thought it'd be good for everybody to get a rehash about the jurisdictional silos of our 3 council members so that everybody, including Senator Reedy, knows. So why don't you start, Nathan?
I happen to have it here in writing, and so I can go over it.
And remember, don't be conversational, because we are online. The public isn't going to hear us between these masks if we just talk as if we're talking to each other. Okay.
So I have all of us here in writing, and this information was included in an email that Tammy sent out that included the PDF Finance Committee guidelines. But as a broad overview, Patrick Carlson's subject areas include commercial law, health insurance, life insurance, property and casualty insurance, managed care organizations, transportation, specifically aviation, highways, and ports, as well as public health, which is jointly assigned among all three analysts. My subject areas include commercial law, specifically credit, banking regulation, and mortgages, economic development, including tourism and military, energy, which covers utility regulation, electric restructuring, renewables, energy efficiency, EUSP, financial institutions and credit regulation, which includes debt management and credit freezes, telecommunications, transportation network companies, taxis, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, and public health, again, jointly assigned. Dave Smolsky covers business regulation and occupations, health regulation, including CON, the Certificate of Need process, human services, family law, children and families, social services, welfare, labor and industry, including OSHA, living wage, minimum wage, prevailing wage, and sick leave, personnel matters, including collective bargaining, education and law enforcement, and also, finally, public health.
Okay. One other quick announcement I'd just like to make. We had a bill last year that we didn't get around to voting on. It was my bill on the air ambulances that a person might be in an accident, may not even be your fault. The state troopers call for you to be carried maybe from the Eastern Shore to a Western Shore hospital, and then you get a $30,000 bill from the air ambulance company, these surprise billings. I had the bill drafted this year, and then lo and behold, we found out that the Congress, and it was a joint resolution to go to the Congress, because they're considered airliners, they have to do it. And when I got the message back from our analysts that Congress actually, about a month ago, passed the bill, and they did what we were trying to do, what we were asking them to do. So that's something we all may want to, when we send out emails in our districts or blasts, to let people know if they were to get one of those bills because they were unconscious and didn't make a contractual relationship with somebody who transported them in an air ambulance, whether it's a helicopter or an airplane, that they can't just give you a break the bank. Okay. So that was really kind of interesting. We had the bill ready to go, and they finally acted. Okay.
So who would bear the burden for the expenses of?
Well, the point was they were ridiculous amounts. You could end up with a $30,000 bill because an air ambulance came when you were on the side of the road, you were hit by somebody, and they took you maybe 15 miles. Okay? And so the bills are outrageous. And in fact, that's one of the things that the Interstate Insurance Product Regulation Commission, which is the legislators from around the nation, have been working on for years, too. So that's when I first became aware of this issue. Okay. Is there anything else for the good of the order? All right, so we've said for now we're voting on Thursday mornings. And, yes.
Are we voting this Thursday morning?
You could if you want. We have a few things, so.
So and maybe we may as well. We never know that we'll make it through the session. What do you think?
I can't be here
Oh,
tomorrow. So
all right. Tammy says she can't get it ready that fast. Okay.
So no Thursday.
So next Thursday of next week. Is there anything else for the good of the order? And we do all want to welcome everybody back. We want to say to you, to your face, Senator Benson, how sorry we are about your sister. I, too, back in May, lost a sister to COVID in New York, so it's a tough thing. And we want to welcome Senator Reedy to the team. All right? All right. Everybody stay safe.